everyone. Okay, for this week's lesson, we will be doing descriptive statistics in SPSS. Okay, so so descriptive statistics is basically concerned with the collection, organization, and numerical and the frequency of characteristics, summarization, and presentation of the data. The method of data presentation can be done uh, in many ways, such as tabulation, in which data is presented in a table, or graphical content in which data is presented in graph by bar charts, line graph, and etc. So initially, descriptive is the one of the most earliest part in your thesis or in your research, meaning before you report the findings of more advanced statistics like linear regression, ANOVA, structure equation, modeling, and so on, you will need to at least uh, write a report about the descriptive statistics. Okay, so for this week's exercise, we will start by calculating the frequencies and percentage. Yes. Okay. Okay, here it is. Okay, this from last week's data entry exercise. So basically, we will be doing descriptive statistics for all the 11 nominal data information consisting of uh, the gender, race, up until the point of whether the respondent is familiar with frozen food or not. And secondly, we will do descriptive statistics for all the items in falls under the category of attitude towards frozen food, attitudes usage of frozen food, and of course, behavior intention. Okay, right. For the first 11 part, we will be doing the analysis using frequency and percentage, while items related for a Likert scale will be analyzed using mean score. Okay, right. First, what you do to analyze the basic demographic information is go to analyze statistics and click on frequencies. Okay, notice that I've already uh, put everything inside the variable option. Let's set. So we can click from gender all the way to berapa kerap Anda membeli frozen food. Is the 11 variable. Click, go into the variables, statistics. Okay, we don't need to see all this yet. Click OK. And SPSS will display a summary of the frequencies and percentage of all the demographic information from gender all the way to the frequency of buying frozen to eat foods. See here. So you may be wondering, how am I going to compile all this information in a table and how am I going to report this? Okay. So the quickest way you can actually copy paste all the tables and paste them into words. Okay, as you can see here, I've already pre-paste all the tables inside this Word document, but I warned you, let me warn you, when you do your PITA or if you want to further postgraduate in the future, never ever copy paste directly from SPSS and write the description bulat-bulat macam ni. If not, your supervisors will for sure cekik you and kick your thesis out the door. Don't do that. So what you need to do, or what you can do, is copy paste everything inside your Word document or your draft thesis with all the necessary information um, available. As you can see, the frequency table. What you need to do is compile all of them into a much uh, reader-friendly table, as you can see here. As you can see here, I've already compiled all 11 uh, uh, all, all 11 data from gender all the way to how frequent uh, one would eat frozen to ready to eat food. So on the leftmost corner is the category of the data. As you can see here, if possible, bold the title of the variable, which in this case, gender, followed by what represents gender, male and female. Okay, this is then followed by the frequencies and the percentage to make it more neat, there, more clearer. Ethnicity, state of origin, age, all the way to how the frequencies. Okay, note that this table is the result of the copy paste from all of this from SPSS. Let me repeat myself. If you want to do copy paste at the top, but make sure you make a proper word table and copy all the information down to this table. Okay. All right. Since I've already done, we can delete all this. Okay. So how do you report uh, descriptive statistics, especially specifically the ones which involve frequency and percentage? Okay. So quick guide on how you can report. Number one, report which values are the highest and the lowest. And if you have more than two values, rank them from the highest value, followed by the second highest, third highest, all the way to the lowest. Second of all, summarize the frequency or percentage of that variable. Okay. So how to, below here is an example of how can you structure and report frequency and percentage inside your thesis, okay, when you do your PITA. All right. You can divide them into the relevant uh, subtopics. Let's say first you are going to report about respondent profile, and then inside respondent profile there are a total of 11 items or variables. Okay, so you list down 4.1.1 gender all the way to 4.11. How often how often uh, do you buy frozen frozen ready to eat foods? Okay, so how do you report? Okay, after you've compile all the data frequency and percentage into this neat table, start with a general outline about the table. As you can see here, table XX represents the overall dimensions of respondents' profile as in the study, namely gender, ethnicity, age group, occupation, estimated income, and how often frozen meals are eaten. Okay, so that is the overview of this table. Okay, once you report the overview, you go into detail about each of the components inside the respondent profile. Okay, as you can see here, gender, look, and using the guidelines of how to report that I've given you. Okay, look how this is reported. With regards to gender, more than two-thirds of them are female, 80%, with a number of 87, while less than two-thirds are male. So this clearly indicates that the female really outnumber male students in this class. Okay, so that's one example of comparing highest value items that have more than two values. Okay, let's go down to the example like I show you here for age group. Sorry, estimated monthly income. Okay, as you can read here, with regards to monthly income, the most almost half of the students in this class earn less than 1,500, which is amount to 46%. This is followed by those who earn between 150 to 299, above 6,000, 4,000 to 499, 3,000 to 399, and lastly 5,000 to 599. Okay, so based on the frequency and percentage for income group, it could be summarized that majority of the students in this class are from the B40 group, or in another way, you can summarize that majority of groups are from the lower income groups. Okay, but all right. So another example, let me show you for age group. Since you all only Sebaya, that's why you get 100% for the age group of 18 to 25. But when you do your PITA in the real life, that value can be different. Meaning you have certain people between 18 to 25, some between 30 and above, some will be 40 and above, and etc. So this is how one example you can report age group that is 100%. With regards to age, everyone falls under the age category of 18 to 25 years old. Then the brackets state the value and summarize. This indicates that everyone completed their secondary school at the same time before enrolling into UMT. Okay, I repeat, what are the guidelines you can follow to do reporting for any of these items is to follow this formula. Report which value are the highest and to the low and the lowest, and if we have more than two values, report them in rank from the highest, second highest, middle, second lowest, lowest, and etc. Okay. All right. Before I proceed with uh, items, the latest skill items, let me just show you several examples of how um, demographic data are reported. This is from a thesis, as you can see here. The first topic will be about respondent's profile and gives a brief description about a brief overview about a respondent profile. Okay, and then after that, it's followed by the respondent's profiles table. As you can see here, there are customers category, various age category, gender, ethnicity, education background, and occupation of the respondents. See how each of them are reported. Say for customers category, it can be seen that more than 2/3 of respondents were hospital staff, while the remaining 1/3 were visitors. This proportion indicates that staff outnumber visitors. Same can be seen here in age group. The way that this section summarized is this result indicates that majority of respondents at cafeteria are among the working class age. Same goes for gender, which large majorities are female, while small portion are males. So it indicates that female respondents dining in cafeteria Sehat are more than males and may suggest females are more health conscious when it comes to choosing food. Okay. Ethnicity, this is one example that you can write. Rank from high to low and give a summary of the scenario. Like in this case, this is in line with the portion of staff in the hospital in which the Malay ethnicity far outnumber other ethnicity. For education, can conclude from education that even though they are separated by diploma, degree, master's, and PhD, but when we tally up diploma with degrees to master's and degree, it indicates that respondents at least have a tertiary education qualification. Okay, one way you can summarize. Okay, another example I'm going to show you is how do you report demographic profile in journal articles. Okay. For thesis, normally you will need to write as long as you can because the mean required amount of words is usually between about above 10, 15, 20,000. And if you do masters and PhD, the amount of words that are required in thesis could could exceed 30 to 40,000. So the rule is in the thesis, if possible, you need to write uh, as long as you can. But in a journal, you need to write as short as you can because, in contrast, most journal articles require you to write with not more than 6,000 to 7,000 words. So now let me show you an example how frequencies are reported in journal articles. Okay. So as you can see here, it's just say that respondent profile are compiled in table 1 consisting of 6 demographic categories, which are customer category, age group, gender, etc. Meaning, in contrast to thesis, we just report the figures of each of the categories highlighted here. And this is a table. Okay. All right. Another style of reporting respondent profile would be like you see here. Respondents profile are compiled in table 2 consists of how many demographic variables which are there. And then rather than summarizing each of the 6 variables lengthily, we only summarize it shortly, as you can see here. It is summarized that hospital staff for outnumbered visitors, dining at healthy cafeteria. Majority of the respondents are amongst the working class, and a larger proportion of female compared to male. Okay, so that's the pattern on how you report in journals. It's just short and precise as compared to in a thesis. You need to write as long as you can, but in journal, short and sweet. Okay, so you might wonder, do I need to use uh, a square-shaped table all the time when reporting frequencies and percentage? Okay, most of the time that is the most reader friendly, but you can consider other forms of graphs to represent your data, like what I'm going to show you right now, is to use the graph function. Okay, so how do you get SPSS to show you a graph or chart? Okay, let me show you. Okay, so if you or maybe your supervisor suggests that you present your frequencies and percentage using pictorial uh, graphs, what you can do is go into statistics, pick frequencies. You have all variables selected as before. What you can do is go into statistics charts. You can choose either you want a bar chart, pie chart, or histogram. So let's see how a bar chart might look like. Okay. Bar chart. Click OK. Scroll down, and SPSS generates the bar chart for all the variables. Same can be done if you want to do a pie chart. You can see SPSS can also generate by a pie chart. And in some cases, maybe you want to illustrate your data through histogram. That is also possible. These are histograms. If the types of data are more suitable to be represented through histogram, you can use histograms. Otherwise, bar charts, most of the time, bar charts or pie charts will be suffice. Okay, but similarly to the frequency tables, I would strongly advise you against using against copy paste bulat-bulat into your thesis, because it doesn't look very nice. You can copy paste, but um, when you write out your draft, make it more nicer. Like, let me show you. Okay, this is an example. If you choose to put charts or graph inside your thesis or your report write up. For example, you can see here customer category, meaning this is actually the chart editor in Words, not directly. Ini bukannya directly import daripada SPSS ya. It looks more attractive and it looks better. Okay, in a way. Sama juga age group. Pie chart dia looks far better than the one in SPSS. Okay. Pie chart to compare male and female to illustrate the number of ethnicity in your study, the level of background, occupation. All right, so that is an example um, of using the pie chart, the bar chart, or the histogram function in SPSS. Okay, I repeat, if you wish to bring pie charts into your table, do not use the original chart from SPSS, because most supervisors they will akan marah lah in a way if you do that sort of lazy work. Okay, what you need to do, copy paste to your draft, import the information, make a more attractive graph through Microsoft Words, and then present that to your supervisor. InsyaAllah dengan cara itu you will be safe lah. Okay, alright, so that covers covers for frequencies and percentage, how you do the analysis, how you arrange it nicely in a table on a chart, and how you report. Okay, so the final lesson for today will be how you report the mean score of your likely skill items. In this case, all the items relating to attitude towards frozen food, attitude towards the usage of frozen food, as well as the purchase intention of frozen foods. Yes. Screen. Okay. So we start by analyzing items A1 until A13, which is representing um, attitude towards frozen food. Okay, so for this part on, we are not going to use frequency or percentage. From this part on, we are going to use mean score. We are going to look at mean score, standard deviation, as well as other factors, which includes range, variance, standard deviation, and coefficient of variance. Okay, so what you do is go into analyze under descriptive statistic, go to descriptives, set this. All right, items A1 until A3, representing the first independent variables. Ini semua anak-anak dia. This is the component of the first car. Variables, options. Now, normally, it is for liquor scale item. It is normally enough for you to just see the mean and standard deviation. But if your data is not liquid scale, let's say your data is in precise number, like blood, your like blood pressure, like weight, where you have to key in the precise value. For example, weight of your respondent A is 40 kilograms, B is 30.2 kilograms, and etc. Okay, for if you analyzing that type of data, you can include variance, range, minimum, and maximum value. Should you deem necessary to report those values, but otherwise, the minimal to do this analysis should at least involve mean and standard deviation. Okay. All right. Okay. Extract. Okay. The values will be as you can see in the screen. All right. We can do the same for the second independent variable, which is attitude towards the usage of frozen to eat food. We set this and bring all the items in variable B from B1 to B19 on the options. Make sure in this, for the sake of demonstration, I will take all these 5 boxes. Okay, the tables generated for B. And lastly, the dependent variable, which is purchase intention or behavior intention. Descriptive. We set everything. The other box are ticked. Click OK. The tables generated. Okay. Okay, next, I'm going to show you how to report mean score and standard deviation. Similar like frequency and percentage, you can copy paste, but please don't use the raw table from SPSS. Make sure you edit your table in a more presentable manner. Okay, let me show you this. Let me show you this document that I've typed early on. Stop this. Let's go to share screen. Okay, so this is generally how you report the table for means and mean scores and standard deviations. Okay, as a general guideline, you report first, do a proper table like you can see here on the left side of the table. Insert the proper codes, and then the items are the are the list of the items that represents by the code. Let's say A1, it, the proper sentence is saya percaya frozen to eat food ialah senang disediakan. A2 um, saying that saya percaya frozen to eat food menjimatkan masa. All this are found in the questionnaire. All this can be referred in the questionnaire you answered earlier on, as you can see here. Okay, these are the maklumat pribadi, demographic informations, and then section B, sikap terhadap frozen food, attitude. Attitude was the usage of frozen food, and lastly, the intention to purchase frozen food. So if you're wondering where do I get the item names, you have to copy and paste from your questionnaire. Okay. All right, let's go back to the report. Okay, so let's look at the first independent variable, which is the attitude towards frozen food. Okay, all right. You list the table, put the codes, put in the items or the question in full sentence, and then you report minimal, at least the mean score and the standard deviation. Like I said before, if your research, if your topics requires you to report other parameters such as range, variance, standard, proficiency of variables, median or mode, you can include them next to standard deviation and so on. Okay, all right. For that, you will need to consult your supervisor when you do your PITA in a not so distant future. Okay, so never mind about that. For the sake of this exercise, the required parameters to report are mean and standard deviation. Okay, how do we report this table? Okay, all right. As you can see here, magnitude of this is one way to report this, following the guidelines given highlighted here. The magnitudes of the mean score relating to attitude towards frozen food ranges from 2.7 to 4.3 with a standard deviation range of 0.6 to 0.9. And it can be summarized that students in this class slightly disagree with items A7, the value, A8, the value, A9, neutral towards item 6, A6, A10, A11, and A13. Slightly agree with item A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, and A12. Okay, all this value is based on the skill rating that we have set earlier on, which is 1 is strongly disagree, while 5 represents strongly agree. Okay. All right. How do we know? How do we know which value to categorize? Okay. Okay. Let's say. Let me give you one example. The value of A9 is 2.07. Okay. If we round it up to the nearest number, kalau kita bundakan pada nombor yang hampir, 2.07 is nearer to 2. So we consider this item as slightly disagree. Okay, another example, let's say we look at A6. The value is 2.6. 0.6 is okay, anything 0.51 and above, it is usually suggested that we round up the figure to the higher value instead of the lower value. Okay, so in this case, A6, since the value is 2.60, it will be nearer to 3. So that's why this one item is treated as neutral. Okay, same goes for item A10 now, and A13. We round it up to the nearest value because zero point 0.7 and zero point 0.3 is nearer to 3. Now, if you look at items A12 and A13, one is 0.56 and one is 0.48. So preferably the one that is above 0.5, we round it up to the higher value, while the one below zero point 0.5, we round it up to the lower value. So that's why you can see in the A12, a value of 3.57, 3.56, we consider it as slightly agree. Okay, so that is some of the basic principles when you want to report your mean scores in your thesis write up. Okay, all right. The same can be applied with the other two variables. Like you see here, I've already list up item B and of course item C. The same principle of write up can be applied for both variables. Okay, all right. So I'm going to show you another example, a real life example in a real thesis, just for you to get a much clearer picture. Let me open one. Okay, here it is. All right. If you look at the screen, okay, this example of how you start to describe statistics, the descriptive statistic of your variable or construct of interest. Okay, meaning referring to your IVs, independent variable, if you have moderating variable or mediating variable, and finally your DVs. So this is one of the independent variable, which is food quality. You can see the value is 3 point something, and based on this research, 3 is not neutral. 3 is rated as slightly agree. So most of these items will be reported as slightly agree. As you can see here in this report, for example, of the write-up, you can see it's evident from table A that the respondent slightly agree with uh, items relating to food quality at cafeterias. Yeah. Okay. So the writer tells which item has the high. Okay, in this case, the writer decided to report for which has the higher value all the way down to the lower value. So I guess in this case, it's also applicable. But if you want to report from the lowest to highest, that's entirely up to you. Okay. F1 is scan. Would be presented in manner. Okay. Okay. And this is how the writer summary. It indicates that cafeteria does fairly well in maintaining temperature for the food, and some may lack memory to provide memory for warming the food. Okay, let's look at another example. Let's say another independent variable. Let's say certification. Okay, you can see here the mean score are below 0.5. So the writer treat this as slightly agree. See how the write-up looks like. Okay, in the final dimension involves certification. Respondents slightly agree with all the items. The items were related to certification, highest, followed by item C2, 3, so on. Okay. And the author summarized that people perceive the certification function as follows: full proof of assurance of good quality food and services in compliance with the standard. Okay, so an example of independent variable. Let's go to eating behavior. All right. So items in eating behavior, there are 1, 2, 3, 5. About 5 items which record value above 3 of 0.5. So in this case, the writer would round it up to the higher value. Okay. Here, the magnitude of the mean square shown in table in 3 to 3 to 3.5. Okay, and reflects that majority of the respondents would agree with more than half of the items. More than half because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus 1, 2 items that are below 3.5. Okay, so that's why the write-up is like this. That's why the writer writes that majority of other items, the respondents agree with them as opposed to slightly agree. Okay? Yes. Looking in depth, respondents were, when it comes to choosing to eat at cafeterias, which one is followed by so these are the items that respondents agree. So we can summarize the items that people agree like this. It is indication that cafeteria does fairly well in catering towards the needs of those wanting to maintain ideal weight. Moreover, it can be seen in cafeteria is still a prime choice for a fair number of respondents due to the advantage of being the sole premise selling healthy and wider choice. Meanwhile, for the items that record slightly agree, this is how the author choose to sum up. Okay. Respondent would slightly agree with items E2 and E7. So we summarize that even though it's slightly agree, it shows that cafeteria does a average or fairly good job in cultivating healthy eating. Okay. So in this style, since there are two groups of two types of magnitude, first one will be agree, and the third one and the minority items are slightly agree. So you can divide them into two paragraphs. The first paragraph talks about items which the respondents agree with, and the second paragraph we talk about items we slightly agree with. Okay, so that is an example of mediating variable. Let's look at the dependent variable. In this case, post-purchase behavior. You can see here, close to 3, slightly agree. Okay. Let's see the write-up. As the final variable, study table showcase the overall mean score and standard deviation rated by respondents. Okay. If I look at the table, the magnitude is between 3.03 to 3.2 and standard deviation of 0.913 to 0.979. Okay. And indicates that people majority of respondents slightly agree. Juga either right here. Based on the above table, it's evident that respondent would slightly agree about coming back, about recommendation, about recommending cafeteria sihat to others. So this refers to item relating to post-purchase behavior. Okay, and you can see here in the final paragraph, the author summarize. Okay, this gives the idea that respondents will have a fair tendency to repurchase at cafeteria sihat, whether in the same hospital or elsewhere. And it could be deduced is due to the fair tendency to repurchase and was more as a consequence of the average satisfaction based on the ratings of food quality and so on. Okay, so the author basically summarized that the score is dijangka memang telah dijangka mendapat 3 disebabkan variable yang sebelum ni satisfaction, perceived value, food quality semua telah 3. Kalau saya nak illustrate the, the write up dependent variable ni menggunakan apa conceptual framework. So dia kata tadi items dalam post purchase behavior mean score dia telah dijangka 3 sebab sebelum ni the pattern of mean score daripada independent variables rangkuman semua ni ke perceived value, ke satisfaction, ke eating behavior dan satisfaction bernilai antara 3.0 hingga 3.45. So untuk DV memandangkan pattern of mean 4 ataupun tak kisahlah berapa variable sebelum dependent variable menunjukkan pattern 3. So it's not surprisingly that the final DV shows that pattern of mean score and standard deviation. Okay. All right. So that is a real life example of a proper write up when you have done a proper data collection, when you've done a proper analysis. This is what you can expect to write inside your thesis. Okay. Okay, so that basically covers this week's class. Okay, right. So if there's any questions or if there anything that you are unclear about doing the analysis for frequency percentage as well as mean score and standard deviation, please contact me and I will try my best to clarify for you. Okay. All right. Thank you for your attendance and your attention this week. Inshallah, we'll see you after the semester break. Until then, stay safe. Stay safe and stay clean. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah and have a good day. Bye.